There we go. And we are live. And this is the itChannel weekend edition. Everybody has a weekend off. We don't. Already a few hours on top and all that. All of us coming in to this podcast with some expectations of hoping to make you laugh on what we say. And at the same time, we have a group of people, panelists who are experts in the opinions that we give. Starting from Mr. Andrew Cobb.
I thought you meant experts.
Yeah.
No, you're an expert in your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that I am.
And Andrew comes to us from a industry of transportation. They ship iPads all around the world. In fact, my iPad came today, shipped by the company that Andrew works for, and he's a IT professional and a gamer at heart.
Glad to be of service.
Oh, yeah. Besides, where could we find you, Andrew? Hello.
Always on Twitter, twitter.com/AndrewKJS.
Right, and to the right of Andrew is Farah.
Hi guys.
Hey Farah, what's work like? You started work this week, right?
Yeah, I just started work. I'm working for a public relations firm.
Yeah.
And it's been good. It's been good so far. Just getting into the speed of things, and proud to say that I've got some technology clients, which I'm working on as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting because I like tech. Ah, cool. And you're also big into social media as well. Yeah, that's right. Social media is a part of what we do, especially when it comes to clients. They need a lot of help with their digital marketing. Right. And that's where we come in. So proud to be here and hopefully just give you opinions on what's happening in the social media realm. So who's your superior? My superior. I guess no one you guys know, but I guess one of the clients that I work on would be research in motion. Ah, okay. Yes. Cool. So are you allowed to give any comments for RIM? If not, just let us know. I think mostly it would be. I think it's just it's a good. They produce good products, so nothing bad to see really. Ah, okay. Yeah. As in, if we have news articles about RIM, would you be able to say anything? Or we can always pass it to you earlier, and then I'll think about it. What I mean by superior is there? Do you have a senior working with you, or? Oh yeah, definitely. We're working in a team. On the for every client, we actually have a team about 4 to 5 people. So, yeah. I bet Sherwin knows who. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm keeping quiet.
And we have Mr. To from mytechnews.info.
Hello.
Yeah, and he's a full-time. What do you call yourself again? That what? Not bullshitter. What something was that?
Loafer.
No, loafer now. Okay, I thought you call yourself expert. What? Damn.
Why you're reading from my Twitter profile now? Are you?
That's right.
Yeah, I got to update that.
Update that.
It's been there for some time. Yeah.
So what's been up? You were at the E7 launch, right? The Nokia E7 launch.
Yep. I was at the media launch, and then they had a preview session of sorts for their ambassadors, which they call Rangers, as well as the online folks, like the online media, so to speak.
Right. I've seen a blog post that you put up for that E7 Nokia E7.
Oh, that was for the media launch. Yeah, I didn't write anything for the review session lah.
Oh, okay. So it was. Yeah. Oh. So, have you used the E7?
Yeah. I first played with it way back about 5 months ago when in London. So I'm just waiting to get my hands on the review unit lah. Played with it often enough already lah. There's been a couple of sessions which I've toyed with it. So now it's time to abuse it proper.
So what is Nokia's strategy right now? Once they already announced the whole Windows 7 tie up with Microsoft. Is this still relevant, the E7 and so on?
Yeah. They're still going to be releasing Symbian powered phones. So that's not going to end overnight or immediately. Mass production of Windows Phone 7 devices by Nokia are going to start sometime in 2012. So they expect to start shipping them in mass quantities in 2012 lah. So I think maybe towards the second half of this year, we may, depending on how fast they can work, we may see some Windows Phone 7 devices from them. Let's hope we do lah.
By end of the year lah.
Yeah, probably towards the latter half of the year lah. Because I think as of this point, the agreement has not even been inked officially yet. Yeah, because the announcement only came out a couple of weeks ago, so they are still fine-tuning the details of the agreement between both parties.
Right. Okay. And to the right of Till is Mr. Sheldon Gill.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. I thought you went somewhere.
No, I muted the mic because
right. So, and Sheldon is a you work in a telco service provider?
I work in by day sometimes. I work, it's a software house that does telco software.
Ah, okay. And by night, you are...
And by night, well, I actually just finished, a couple of nights ago, finally finished this year's G.I. Joe convention comic.
Nice. So for those who don't know, Sheldon draws for G.I. Joe. You draw for Marvel?
No, actually, I don't. I draw for the license holder of the G.I. Joe International G.I. Joe convention. So every year they release a comic book exclusive at the convention. So I draw that, and then that gets put into general release at the end of the year.
Right. Okay.
So I've just finished this year's one and finally got that out.
Right. And to the right of Mr. Sheldon, we actually is the whole round. You know, if you look at the screen on Ustream, you actually see we're sitting in a round circle. We're seeing Kumbaya and burn campfire marshmallows on campfires. Mr. Sherwin is the most sexy dressed one today. You just had to imagine.
Why, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We wish we could put your photo on it right now. Mr. Sherwin is the reporter for Digital Life and of the Straits Times.
Yep.
Yeah. Who is also a gamer as well on his part-time somewhere. So what's the new news in Digital Life?
We're going through another silly revamp. I don't understand it. Every year, right? You just go through one revamp after another.
Oh.
So it just basically means more work.
You're lucky. It's only one revamp a year. We had like 3 or 4. I'm just afraid to introduce the next person. His name is Thomas Perry. I'm not sure he's finished eating. So this.
I'm taking a break from eating.
Cool.
My nasi goreng China is resting.
Really? And of course, this is Thomas Perry, who's an enterprise architect for 25 years. He works for the same company I used to work for, and a few of us used to work for as well. But by day, he goes out and tries to be, an architect that try to sell relevant solutions to the world. And at the same time, by night, he's a rock star.
Right. That's not overstating it at all.
No. As you normally hear that he, as you've heard in the pre-show, he's been rocking out on the background and some of that. So tell us, Thomas.
Actually, I'm only here because you had to have a minority quota.
That's right.
For this. So I'm the token white guy.
Token white guy.
Exactly. I'm in Singapore where where more than 50% or less than 50% of foreigners, right? And in this podcast, there are no foreigners at all. They're all local people for some reason. And so, we had to bring Thomas in just to fill up that quota.
Yeah.
And so we're all covered. We covered all our bases in that sense. All right. So on to the show. Have your guys, obviously, I don't know how many of you, hands up, stayed up for the whole iPad 2 announcement?
I tried to, but I fell asleep.
Was it too boring or was it?
No lah, I didn't expect anything earth-shattering anyway. We all know what it was going to be, roughly speaking. So I just decided to sleep through it lah, and you know.
And what is the post-show announcement comments?
Well, I thought it was the most. I'll answer first. I thought it was the most amazing piece of technology ever.
Really?
Oh, come on!
I've never seen a cyborg that good in my life. I mean, Steve Jobs died a month ago, and they got his flesh, and they loaded it up with electronics, and they got him to be able to present the iPad too. I just think that's amazing.
The smart cover looks pretty cool at all.
Yeah.
$70 US for a piece of leather and some magnets.
Yeah. It was the launch of magnets.
I mean, you think about it, right? That smart cover is just a square piece of leather or plastic.
Okay.
With some magnets and
well, that's what I was saying to Mike there. That's what Mike and I were up.
He sold it like it was the greatest thing ever.
Exactly. No, it's like sock. It's like the iPod sock.
Yeah. Apparently, it's my microphone.
That is just typical Steve Jobs.
Okay, speak. Let's see.
But yeah, the iPad 2 was pretty cool, I guess.
I mean, it was what the iPad 1 should have been, really.
This is true.
So they've only added few new things. One of them is the dual camera, which I don't see a lot of use for on the iPad. It's such a big device. And what's that? What's the other thing that they added? Oh, HDMI output, mirror output, which they added.
They made it thinner.
And what?
They made it thinner and lighter.
Thinner, lighter, but yeah. So there's just the look and feel and all that, and then they put in magnets for the iPad. Wow. But everything else stayed the same except A5 chip, double the speed, which is amazing. Oh, this right here. And then there is
9 times the graphics capability.
9 times, yeah.
9 times.
It flies. It actually comes alive. And then there's the RAM is same. It's about 512. After some search, I have not been able to find the article again, but it's about 512 megabytes.
Wow, 512 gigabytes. That's impressive.
Oh, you can run a data center off that.
Buy now. You're crazy.
All in memory. Wow.
Memory, yeah. All in memory. It's all state anyway. And then there's no Retina display. The display exactly the same. And I think it is actually Steve Jobs or Apple rather saying to the rest of the industry is that this is it. I mean this is like everybody else's tablet. But guess what? We have sexier and we have how many? 35,000 amps. No, 65,000 amps.
65,000 amps.
Yeah.
And
they've also got to jump on a few people.
Yeah.
So does it make anyone? So we had Thomas here. Thomas wanted to buy a tablet. So does it make you want to buy the iPad 2 or the HP something?
It would be nice to have them released within 6 months of each other, so I could do a proper comparison. The touch, what is it? The touchpad.
Touchpad
isn't going to be released until June or something.
So
I mean, I just think it's ridiculous to make an announcement. I mean, 3 weeks, whatever Steve Jobs did, is a good sort of time. You get people excited and yet have the thing available. There's no point getting people excited and then saying, hang on for 3 months and Apple will release another product in the meantime.
Yeah.
So I probably can't wait for that long. Although I am quite interested in the HP one.
Right. And that's why Steve Jobs came up and said, what's the availability? It's not next month. It's not 3 months. It's not 5 months down the road. It's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, you're really smart.
Yeah, really
10 days.
10 days.
But to be fair to the competitors, the original iPad had a 3-month window as well, right? From the original announcement in January and then up to the release in April. So I mean,
HP and RIM were thinking, well, if Apple can get away with it, so can we. And then we'll just take our own sweet time after showing it off in CES, and then we'll just take it back to the shop and then tinker around a bit. And then to their utter horror, they find out that basically Apple just skips over them, just leapfrogs over them, and then releases it.
But I was using I was using an HP tablet in 2006, 2005, 2006. That was before, that was when they had the wraparound with the keyboard that folded onto the back.
Yep.
So it was pretty cumbersome, but it was there. I mean, if they had the smarts to remove the keyboard and make it virtual, the opportunity was there.
Yeah, but what OS was it running?
Windows tablet.
There you go.
You're talking about the TC1000, Thomas?
Yeah,
The compact TC1000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have that. I used to have two of that.
That
one used an active digitizer. Yeah, that product was way ahead of its time, I have to admit. Yeah, it was a good product let down by a piss poor OS.
How many Windows haters are there out there? Is everybody a Windows hater?
No.
Real enthusiastic reply.
We love Windows.
No, I think there are plenty of Windows tablets on the market right now. The only problem is they're all massively underpowered. And of course, we all know all along that Windows has never been designed for touch interface anyway. So no matter what sort of user interface usability improvements that each manufacturer decides to slap on top of Windows, it's basically going to turn out futile. It's trying to put on, lipstick on a pig and trying to make it look as gorgeous as Megan Fox, for example. So it's just not going to work. So we know that. I mean, the idea is good. It's always nice there's some competition out there, but you can forget about Windows tablets for now.
Mm.
To the iPad 2, I think we made fun of the fact that it now comes with two cameras, front and back. You can use the front for FaceTime and the back for your HD video recording and picture taking. I believe the back camera is 5 megapixel, although I can't really see the specs in Apple's website. But think about it, right? They also announced iMovie and GarageBand, and I think for someone who buys the iPad 2 and has iMovie loaded, and for most of you out there, I think you've got children, right? You've got kids. You bring the iPad 2 along to a function or for anything for that matter, and in that one instance, you can just basically use the iPad to snap a photo and just shoot a short HD video, and on the device itself, fire up iMovie and create a nice short movie and basically distribute it amongst your friends and stuff like that. And I think that one instance alone can probably justify the purchase of the iPad 2.
Really?
Yeah, so we may make fun of it, but I think that single instance. I mean, people say that memories are really precious, and I'm sure that if that were to happen to any of you guys who've got kids, using it once, I think in the way that I've described, you're probably glad that you actually splashed out the cash for the iPad 2.
But you can do that with the top 20% of the phones on the market. With a smartphone, you can do that. That's a lot easier to carry around than your iPad.
Yeah, you can do it with obviously the iPhone, but some people are just not going to get an iPhone because of But for a tablet, those who are I don't know, sitting on the fence, for example, it may be a good buy. It's not a compelling buy for me, I have to say.
Yeah,
I find it interesting though that you've got that scenario of pictures of children. Because I'm just saying.
And just for the record, I don't like
telling us about
No, and just for the record, I don't really like them, but I can see, how people can use it to justify the purchase of an iPad 2. So I'm just giving people ideas.
Yeah, no, because if there was a scenario where it came down to you taking pictures with an iPad and editing it and uploading it, I'm pretty sure kids are not in the picture at all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you may be right. I mean, there could be other grown-ups in the picture in various states of, we shan't go there.
This is no longer it's never been it's always been an 18SX podcast because of Sherwin's picture, so we cannot do that. But Sherwin
always point to me.
but Sherwin, did you see the tablet on the HP touchpad in CS or one?
I saw it at a mobile world. Yeah, I did.
What do you think?
It's big. It's big and it's bulky and it's made of plastic. And I don't know if it's the final build, but it's definitely not a very compelling device to make people think that, hey, you know what, this is something worth getting lah.
Wait, what are we talking about? What device is that?
The HP WebOS touchpad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the joint venture with Palm tablet release.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, that was a joint.
What about the Zoom though? The Motorola Zoom. Has anyone actually had their hands on one yet? No one. Right?
Sherwin.
Yeah, I've seen it as well. I've seen most of the major tablets. I think the only one I haven't seen is the iPad 2 lah. So, I think surprisingly, after the announcement of the iPad 2 came out, actually Samsung came out to say that their 10.1 tablet is inadequate lah. So they might be going back, to the drawing board to take a look at, slimming it down, adding some improvements or just making it comparable to the iPad 2. So, given that they haven't admitted to any timeline for product launches, I think it's a smart move of them to actually go back and spend a little bit more time, isn't it?
It is because it was an interesting move. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall at that meeting, the head of engineering, watching the launch of the iPad 2, and see the look on his face is like, what? Whatever it was that prompted that move, it must have been incredible.
For me, the nice thing about it is at the moment, if I send my wife an email, she has to walk downstairs and boot up her laptop, and it's sort of it's heavy enough that she doesn't want to move it. It stays on the one place on the table. And it's a very nice device to sort of read your mail in front of TV, and it's a good size. It's not like trying to read it on a hand phone. And it's it's going to be light enough to just slide and small enough to slide under the couch. Afterwards, I think it's a good size for that sort of thing.
Right. So
we may be making fun about how the iPad 2 is not really that big of a leap from the iPad 1. Well, that's because I think the iPad 1 it's still a pretty good device.
Yep.
So iPad 2's real competition is probably maybe it might be the Zoom, but I think the real competition for the iPad 2 is the iPad 1 itself.
Yep.
Whoever's going to have iPad 1, they're not going to really want to upgrade to the iPad 2 because that is not really that compelling.
That's actually true.
We make fun of about how small of a jump in specs it is, but I have no doubt it's going to sell bucket loads of these things.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what Conan O'Brien said. No matter what you say, you buy it.
And in fact, that reminded me, that Conan O'Brien thing reminded me of that episode of the Simpsons where Lisa designs a doll and puts all this huge amount of work into it to make it different from the popular one, which was called Malibu Stacy.
Right.
And the competing company just stuck a hat on Malibu Stacy and all the girls ran away from Lisa's doll into the new Malibu Stacy with the hat. Like a very similar approach.
Exactly. It's actually quite true what Andrew just said, because it's the same experience that I'm facing. And that would be Mr. Cho trying to adjust his camera to focus on something else at the same time. Ooh. And
no, that's not me. I muted my microphone.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so he came out and say no. All right. Anyway, so it came through because I wanted to buy the iPad 2. I actually made an order. I made an order, meaning I called a friend in US, said, please put in an order for me when it comes out, please. And I want the magnetic cover, which somebody from Japan actually created that beforehand, and the HDMI output, but I didn't go with it. I just decided after evaluating it, I said no, let's not do it. I'll just get a cheaper iPad, full specs. It's much better. And to note, it's only this part of the world, the part that are not released, that you can still buy the old iPad, In the US, you can actually cannot buy the old iPad anymore. It's out of store, so you can't do that. If you want to get one, better get one now before they start announcing for the new availability for the new one.
No lah, I think if you were thinking of getting one, it's much better to get the iPad 2 lah. There's no point getting a previous generation product when the new one has been announced lah. You know, the difference in price isn't really that great. You know, you're already buying what is many consider a luxury product anyway. So spending 300 ringgit more to get a second generation product, I think is pretty much a no-brainer lah. But I think, you know, if you look at it simply, Apple just looked at the competition and said, you know, there's really nothing much they need to do to tweak, you know, the iPad to bring it up to the level that its so-called supposed competitors are at now. So they just decided to do a couple of incremental improvements. And you know, the iPad 2 is essentially designed to discourage those people who are wanting to buy, you know, an alternative to the iPad now, you know, to not switch over lah. It's as simple as that. I'm sure they've got you know, a grand plan somewhere where they said that the iPad 1 is going to have this feature set, you know, 2 is going to have this, 3 is going to have this, and it's just a matter of fine-tuning the feature set as you know, competitors put out their products lah. And I think many people have commented that you know, as long as the competition plays to Apple's rules, then Apple has got really nothing much to worry about lah. And I think that's the gist of it lah.
Right. Yeah. So that's our opinion. So I think we can decide. You know, what you're gonna buy, and if it's gonna be available. There's no availability date for Singapore or Malaysia at this point in time. So watch out for it, and we definitely will keep our eyes on it when we get it, and we'll definitely talk about it on a live show.
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
Just one more thing, Mike.
Right.
So what if people could have one more feature on the iPad,
Mm-hmm.
right, on the iPad 2 that was announced? What do I think the major missing feature is from the second version? Because for me, it would be the USB port.
Would they even release that? It's a question.
It was certainly mooted.
Yeah, no, they said the Thunderbolt could be on the iPad too. Could be, but it didn't come up.
I'm gonna have another Thunderbolt conversation.
We had that last week. We're gonna start it again. No way.
Okay.
Anyone seen? So the cover was incredible. It looks like a very nicely nice shutter, magnetic shutter for the iPad 2. Apparently, according to AsiaJin, a Japanese blog out there, it's been designed before. It's actually a bathtub lid, if you have seen the news. And I'm putting this up on the Ustream right now. Yeah, it looks exactly like the... it even has the same color.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Actually, I'm more curious to see what the third parties will do with that magnetic strip. I mean, yes, it's meant to clamp onto the cover, but I'm just wondering what other uses people would have figured out for it. What else you can clamp onto it? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, the biggest blow is probably the current cover makers. They just cannot fit the new one anymore.
Well, yeah, because of thickness as well, isn't it?
Yep, thickness and the whole shebang. All right, that's the cover story. So this one maybe one for Farah.
Sure.
Yeah, JP Morgan decided to evaluate Twitter and decided to try to buy them or put a stake in them. What's the take on that?
Yep. So just for people who don't know about it, JP Morgan is basically an investment firm. They do a lot of financial related services, and it's based in the United States. So what came out in the news, as Mike mentioned, was that they've tried not to actually buy over Twitter, but what they would like to do is to own a stake in Twitter. And Twitter right now, they actually value it at about $4 billion. More or less, and JP Morgan is, hoping to just buy a minority stake in it for about $1.2 billion, hopefully. So that's the news here. I think this reflects on previous times when, Twitter has been offered offered to be bought over by a couple of firms before. For example, I think you remember Google tried to buy over Twitter.
Yep.
I think that was back last year, early last year. They tried to buy Twitter for $2.5 billion. And of course, Twitter found it really insulting and just turned them down flat. And surprisingly, I think a few months later, Google had a new offer, and they upped the offer to $4 billion. Which is now what it's valued. So I think it's just, Twitter's just going to keep going up. They will be releasing their IPO, I believe it's going to be in 2012. And by then, the valuation is expected to, just go through, just keep going up. Because, in the past few years, Twitter's value has actually quadrupled, in fact. So that's how much they're growing every single year. So I think it's a very smart investment from JP Morgan. We also see that more and more financial banks and services are actually trying to get their hands into the social media market. For example, Goldman Sachs. Yep, it's another financial services firm. They've tried to they have successfully put a stake in Facebook. Yep, and that's a $1.5 billion stake, and Facebook is currently about $50 billion. Yeah, $50 billion. So we.
Oh, it just went up. It just went up to 70 billion.
Oh,
75 billion in the aftermarket.
75 billion. Yeah, different firms actually valued Facebook differently, but that's also I think one problem. When financial services, when this kind of big banks want to invest, the problem with such social media sites is you can't really put a figure to it. How do you actually value a company, how do you actually value a social media site? Put a cash value to it. So I think that's one problem when it comes to social media. But this is going to be good for Twitter. It's definitely going to increase the valuation, and it's going to prepare them for more things, especially since they're, like I mentioned, going to release their IPO next year.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I think it just reflects, like a lot of companies have tried to buy Twitter before. Google has tried to buy Twitter. I think Facebook has tried to buy Twitter. Microsoft at one point also was, in negotiation. But Twitter, according to the CEOs, Bistone, I think they are not planning to sell it out. Definitely, they're not going to be bought over. They are going to remain independent as far as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, Twitter have been around for what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah.
And they have not made a single cent yet.
Yeah, I think the problem with Twitter is the monetization.
Yep.
How they actually can get money from it, and that's why Google tried to buy it, so Google could possibly try to integrate, AdWords and try to integrate advertising into Twitter. But I think if that's not on their plans for now, definitely we will see how it's going to be like when they start releasing their IPO. Maybe more ways to actually get Twitter to be profitable.
Right.
So what do you guys think? Like how can actually Twitter start making money since you send Google down?
I think the same thing that happened to the .coms is going to happen to Twitter, because it's based on nothing other than people using it, and when the next thing comes along, it's going to be valueless.
Yep. So, but the thing is, things have gone and passed, but nothing seems to be able to unseat Facebook and Twitter. They're both the most dominant and the most popular social networks today, especially Twitter, when there's so much chatter on it right now.
Yeah, but that's what everyone said about MySpace in 2004.
And then
or Yahoo, we got a bit earlier than that.
Okay, I mean, but what do you all foresee as the next thing that could actually unseat this two social networks?
If we could see, that would be very, very wealthy, Mike.
That's right. Or some sort of idea, I don't know, video or whatever, like what we are doing now over Ustream. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, when they say, for example, that Twitter is worth $4 billion or whatever, not having made a cent, what typically would the analysts be basing that kind of estimate on?
Potential revenue.
Potential revenue.
they actually put some figures to how many active users there are on Twitter. So possibly for every active user, you just put a valuation to it. That's one way they actually calculate it. I'm not too sure, what goes on behind the scenes. But mostly,
Sorry, carry on.
No, mostly it's based on how much reach you have. Because the same thing happened to Facebook. They were not putting advertisements, but when a lot of talk went in to actually buy over it, they were looking at the extent of reach that Facebook had in terms of how many profiles were on it, how many users were on it.
Yeah, which usually translate to advertising dollars eventually. So it's the potential ability to actually make revenue from the profiles that you have. So if you look at a lot of companies, they talk about, especially the web companies, they look at acquisition of a customer, and they calculate how much would it cost to acquire one customer. And sometimes, and with Twitter and stuff like that, actually the cost to acquire one customer is pretty low. And getting their attention and stuff like that is pretty low. That's why they're buying in terms of this. But the ability to actually get the advertisers to come in and sell, for example, I'm selling kind of awareness for 700,000 or up to 2 million targeted customers that you're looking for, and they actually offer that kind of things. That's one. Yeah.
Did they ever have a program here called the Dragon's Den? Was that ever shown in this part of the world? Right.
No, I've seen that in the UK though.
Right. So the UK version, basically, it's people come up with a business. It's more than an idea; they have to have actually developed it, and they ask for venture capitalist money, and they apply their case. And there was one guy had some sort of internet property company, and that's the valuation they used for his company that he had. He had 40,000. Subscribers or people who are members of this thing, but the problem with Twitter is they've got virtually no information about you. I mean, something like a database of people interested in property, you tend to have what sort of budget they're looking at, what area they're living in, all those sorts of things. So it's actually a lot more valuable if you're going to do target marketing, which works a lot better than gunshot marketing. On Twitter, you just have so little information.
So the interesting thing is that you actually get a lot more information on Twitter than on any other place because, one, yes, location is definitely there because people put in their location, or they put in something called their when they check in the Facebook, and when they put in their GPS location, you can capture all that. So, and then the way you tweet, what you're tweeting about, the stuff that you say. I actually wrote an article about this the other day where they actually measure. They actually Twitter actually looked into what you actually have, what you actually do. They know the movies you watch. They know the stuff that the food that you're eating and stuff like that. And they actually can profile you pretty much a lot, and that's the thing.
Right. So they know when you're sleeping and they know when you're awake.
Exactly. When you don't stop tweeting, they assume that you're asleep. And then when you start tweeting in the morning, they know, oh, you're awake. Or when you're active, at least when your active attention time would be.
So they're the new Santa Claus.
Exactly. That's right. So yeah, that's how they come up with some of this money and how. But 1.2, they want to put 1.2 billion into Twitter. It was amazing.
But the drop-off rate of Twitter is like horrendous. It's like 70% of people who give it up on it after 3 weeks.
Yeah. Where do you get the information?
From the net. Where do you get the information?
From the article I'm reading. I don't know.
No, it's only the real saddos and the celebrities that keep hanging on to it.
Yeah, like Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
The moment, winning. Yeah, they're winning. In fact, they for Charlie Sheen, I mean, they can obviously because he said something on air, and he got canned. The whole show got canned because of him, but people on Twitter actually showed what they mean, what the show meant, and had 1.5 million followers in 48 hours. It's ridiculous.
To follow celebrities, I absolutely get it. But, knowing that your neighbour's going to the bathroom is just...
Yeah, nobody does that anymore. Showing news.
You mean you don't?
Yeah, well. Okay. All right. So, what do you guys think about BBM opening up to other platforms? Which is one of the...
It's about time, man. you know.
That's Mr. To, I'm sure.
So tell us what you think then.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know, BlackBerry Messenger is one of the key selling points when you actually buy a BlackBerry phone. So when you subscribe to what is known as the BlackBerry Internet Service, the BlackBerry Messenger service is actually comes free with it. It's basically a text chat service, much like your instant messaging software out there, like for example MSN Messenger and the like. And anyone who owns a BlackBerry anywhere in the world, as long as you have their what is called a personal identification number, a PIN number, which is tied to the phone, you can actually basically chat with them, obviously, with their permission first. So they need to accept, you as some sort of an acquaintance or a friend or something. So that's been one of the main selling points of the BlackBerry Messenger. So you don't need to pay for SMS to your greedy telcos and stuff like that. So, them wanting to extend it to Android and iOS isn't really a big surprise, basically. It's a move, I think, designed to get people hooked onto BlackBerry Messenger, and hopefully they, want to be able to move some of these Android and iOS users, to be a BlackBerry user proper, to buy their handsets and basically subscribe to the service. I also read somewhere that the version of BlackBerry Messenger for Android and iOS, isn't going to be as comprehensive as the one on the Blackberries. I'm not sure what the differences are going to be. I haven't really read into that level of depth yet. But, with the growth of apps such as WhatsApp, which also spans multiple operating systems, they are feeling threatened, so to speak. So this is, they have to be seen to be doing something, I guess. Right. So that's my take on it. I don't think it's really going to convince anyone that they actually want to be buying a BlackBerry phone, just because it actually has BlackBerry Messenger. I mean, push email used to be their domain, and now everybody is doing push email. So that competitive differentiator has now disappeared. So as I mentioned before, WhatsApp is now encroaching into the BlackBerry Messenger space. So they're getting mighty worried about that as well.
So how does it work? I mean, right? It is the killer app for BlackBerry at the moment, right? I mean,
yep.
And they're giving it away, the killer app that actually move people on the platform. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and the reasons why they want to use the BlackBerry was because of BBM, and now they put it on every platform. Is it that would it actually hit? Do you think would it hit their hardware?
Don't know, doubtful. I mean, they have to be seen to be doing something. They are losing market share, if you believe the reports, everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
To arrest that decline, they have to do something, and they have to be seen to be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether this is something that is going to, as I say, encourage or really, entice people to move onto a real BlackBerry device proper, that remains to be seen. Personally, I don't think so. But let's see how it does, how it goes. I think this particular application now is no longer, as you call it, a killer app. I don't see it as such.
Right. Okay. So
3 years ago, I actually interviewed some of the BlackBerry folks,
mm-hmm.
and I was asking them, what are the chances of bringing BBM to other phone platforms or even on the browser, right? Because you want to have the option of chatting with other people who may not be on the platform. And they basically just laughed in my face, saying that this is something that they value so much. It's a plus point for BlackBerry.
Yep.
And if you want to use it, you have to get a BlackBerry because it's the only way. And then after that, everyone else came along. You have WhatsApp being one of the bigger players, and BlackBerry basically lost out. They had a chance. I mean, if they actually had opened it up, they could be dominating this entire space, as early as 3 years ago. But they didn't want to, and that was, I think, a mistake on their part. And now they're trying to play catch up.
Right.
And they're gonna have a hard time, because your Android, iOS folks, WhatsApp is really such a huge and cheap alternative that people have really latched on. So what are the chances that people are going to be going to pick up the BBM Messenger? And from what I read though is that the stripped down version on Android and iOS will have limited options like no file sharing. So you can text, but that's about it. So you can't like send people pictures, different files and stuff like that, which you know WhatsApp can do.
Right.
And also, I don't know, like, I think those kind of features are more hyped rather than something which is a must-have for most users. You know, apart from the you know, the most depraved of people who need to share every intimate single moment of their lives with other people.
They'd be on Twitter, those ones.
Touche.
Yeah.
So would it make people switch from, say, WhatsApp to BlackBerry Messenger?
No one's going back to BlackBerry. I mean, BlackBerry was the device in what, 2004, 2005. You know, was the certainly business communications device, was streets ahead of everything else, and you know, Windows Mobile, whatever it was trying to compete and getting nowhere. But you know, I think they've had their chance, and you know, if they can survive by getting some licensing out of the server or whatever for this particular feature, it'll keep them going. But no one's running to BlackBerry devices unless they come up with something revolutionary rather than you know, peddling around something they did a few years ago.
Would they open up, because if you're going to build into other platforms, would they open up connections to the BIS, to their BlackBerry information servers, that allows things like WhatsApp to actually connect to it and consolidate a single messenger system?
Well, they probably can't be bothered doing that because they'd need to do all the reintegration development and stuff. If you know, if they can get any traction on their own app, it saves them a lot of work, doesn't it?
Why not just open up the APIs, and you know, people can just use the APIs and connect to it and use it? Because I mean, if nobody's going to use their clients, and they want the service to really survive, and you know, because iPhone users and Android users won't be able to talk to the BlackBerry users out there, if there's some form of integration, I think that would help with the community that they have.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would do it as a purely defensive move to keep losing their customer base.
Yeah.
More as a defensive move rather than as an offensive move to gain you know, customers to the platform. But if you look at you know, RIM today, they are essentially going to be in the same situation that Nokia is in today with Symbian. The BlackBerry OS is simply not made for the age of the internet. They know that. Anyone who has actually used a BlackBerry phone, I think, would concede the point that you know, to surf on the internet on a browser, for example, it's really, you know, a piss poor experience, like even with their touch interface. So I think they actually bought the company that produces this operating system called QNX, which they're going to slap onto their playbook. And I think they're slowly going to transition their smartphone range onto a version of QNX as well in the future.
That's gonna take quite a while, right? Because then they have to migrate all their secure email servers over, and this is what they couldn't do, which is why the playbook requires the use of a BlackBerry device to connect to your calendars and to your emails. So that might, you know, take them, you know, a few months, even a few years to do, if they're actually planning to do that.
Yeah, time which they don't have lah. So maybe they need to steal some smart engineers from Apple, for example.
if they want to move.
Yeah. I think you know, as a company, IRM is very much on the defensive at the moment. It's got it doesn't have many offensive moves to make. You know, the single one that it used to have before the iPad 2 was announced was the playbook. Right now, I think they're scrambling to reprice it. Because any product that comes out, any tablet product that comes out which is priced higher than the iPad, people are just going to question, why should I pay more?
Yeah.
Because Apple is really considered a premium brand, and if RM or Motorola comes along and says that I should pay more for their tablets, you know, I mean, why? You know, why? It doesn't make sense.
All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be I guess, like you mentioned, been mentioned out here, so it's Nokia, like everybody else. I think the older players who are actually getting into this game are trying to innovate themselves. And interesting story, actually, was watching History Channel the other day, and apparently the Roman Empire fell just like that, just the same as what they did. I mean, the Roman Empire started giving away land because the barbarians were actually coming in too hard. And they couldn't really defend themselves, so they paid the barbarian off by giving them land. but by giving them land, they're actually losing taxes and not be able to pay up themselves, and that's why they went down. So looking at RIM, I mean, looking at RIM and Nokia is giving away the entire OS to Microsoft, and RIM is giving their, I think would be the killer app for BBM for the BlackBerry, has been more and more giving away from this, and looks like there'll be a couple of people who are going to survive are the people who actually can make the operating system last a bit longer than what they have. And how would this affect the playbook? It looks like it may just hamper it a bit, and it becomes even more something that they may be able to to actually use it as another point to sell the playbook as well. I think they may have to drop this point as one of the biggest thing in the playbook at the same time. Yeah. So anyone has any last words for RIM? On RIM, I mean.
R.I.P.
I think Farah came back just in time.
It's a good move. I think BBM going on the different platforms is a good move. That's all.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Okay, so new stuff that are happening and coming up onto the internet, as you can see. Apparently in Malaysia, there's a new service called FongFeiKei.
What the
God.
They are actually a clearinghouse for tickets. If you have you want to ditch, instead of being a tout or being someone who actually, what do you call that?
Scalper.
Scalper, that's right. Instead of being a scalper, you can actually ditch it to FongFeiKei, and they will try to sell it for you last minute and stuff like that.
Can I explain what FongFeiKei means?
Let go aeroplane. Direct
Very helpful. Very helpful.
To bail out on an appointment.
That's right. I was getting there.
Get there faster.
Just the name itself sounds so dodgy. I don't know if I'm going to use it.
Well, it's very close to something else. Yes.
Exactly.
So no, and if you watch on the chats and the IMs and the Twitter timelines, you can see this thing called FFK. This is practically what it means to not meet your appointments.
Yeah, when I saw that at first, I thought, people, why do people keep mistyping FFS for FFK?
Wait, what is FFS?
The last word is sake, Michael. or sake, depending on.
The polite version is for fish sakes.
Right. That's right. So this one interesting is actually I've heard it. This is the second time I heard it. I actually heard the guy from another friend who actually holds this monthly or a bi-monthly thing called the WorkCamp. Basically, web developers and all that will come on board, and they will talk about stuff they develop and stuff like that. And apparently, this guy presented FongFeiKei onto the webcam, and he got quite a good response, and he's actually taking all this and developing that. So if you miss the movie ticket, if you do not, somebody do not want to come and stuff like that, you can always, or concerts or whatever, you can always put it up on FongFeiKei.
The people pushing the tickets,
Mm-hmm.
might find it quite attractive, but when I lived in London, I bought a lot of tickets for concerts off scalpers because they would buy all the legit tickets early and bank that the thing, was well sold.
Mm-hmm.
And so and they'd charge you, it was like 40, 50 quid for a ticket that was 10 quid face value.
Right.
And the problem is you'd made all the effort to get to the concert. They knew they basically had you, and that you were going to pay that sort of money because you didn't make all that effort for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to go to something, I just think you're going to want to you're going to want to guarantee that you can get a ticket, and sitting there on your mobile device thinking, gee, is someone going to sell a ticket for this event, and walking around outside it. You know, I just don't know how the timing is going to work out from the buyer's side.
Right. So what in a sense that you actually lose that the demand for actually you're already paid, or rather someone who is actually ready to pay for the tickets out there. But I guess in this case, you can actually lower the price and actually entice people to say, hey, it's half the price if I rush the thing now within half an hour. If I try to, even when I miss 5-10 minutes of the show, which, you know, like movies and all that, it doesn't really matter anyway, because the 15 minutes usually advertising. And you look at I mean, concerts, I mean, you may miss the first set 1 or 2 songs. Would it matter if you do that?
Well, it would to me. It would to me. I don't think it's going to be used for movies. I mean, you know, it's going to be big shows and concerts. But you know, in places that have eBay, or in New Zealand it's Trade Me, you know, those sort of tickets go on sale, you know, a few weeks out. You know, of the concert happening, so people have time to decide whether they can be bothered going or not. So I just think getting that last minute stuff, you know, especially with KL traffic, there's something on a book at Bintang, and it's an hour away. You know, you're not going to it. You know.
Right. Well,
I guess for people that stood up early, it's okay.
A day or so, a week, a few days before the thing. Yeah, that's true. Okay, cool. We have another one from Indonesia as well. I think, Sheldon, you want to take this one? Mute.
Sorry, let me just unmute the mic. Yeah, this is. I had actually, before getting your link, I had never heard of this. But Ngomik, that's Ngomik, Ngomik.com, looks to be a Indonesian webcomics portal, as far as I can tell, because some of the bahasa Indonesia I just don't.
I'm translating it right now.
Yeah, no, actually, the article that you sent has a link to Ngomik.com, and Ngomik.com itself
is in English. Well,
the interface is predominantly in English, but the content itself is predominantly bahasa Indonesia. So a lot of the comics that you can find there are bahasa Indonesia. There's a huge variance in some of the quality. There's some stuff that looks really good and some stuff that looks really amateurish. But I guess that's what this is. As far as I can tell, it's like a community of webcomics, and it offers for comic artists. It allows you to upload comics, and it says commercialize your work, but I'm not sure exactly how. And then for comic book readers, of course, you get to come and just check out comics. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it's a community of comic book web comics publishing. I think what they offer in terms of features is they offer the hosting for the images and so on, and then the interface, the reading interface, is taken care of by the site. You just, as a comic book creator, you just bring your content.
All right.
I can't quite tell if they support any other languages. It's an interesting. It looks like an interesting site to be at, but
would it, for example, as a comic book producer, would it help you in terms of getting your content out of that using?
Yeah, I think just like with any other content, the issues are going to be getting enough eyeballs on your stuff. So any site that already has a pre-built audience, and any site that has a pre-built audience where they are willing to, for example, put you front and center as new content and then bang the gong a little bit, I think that'll be helpful. So yeah, I think so.
All right. And what would you get? Do you see other things that are similar in terms of elsewhere besides this site? Is there something?
Well, yeah, I mean there have been similar initiatives, and there are similar initiatives. The American, because I'm familiar more predominantly with the American webcomics.
Right.
In the States they have, but they tend to be collectives of established artists, or these guys get together and they start up their own portal. where they will feature, say, 5 guys get together. Each one of them has a strip, so you'll get 5 strips, and that refresh every week. But this one seems to be more of a community, all-comers kind of thing. I'm not sure if it is all-comers. I need to check their policies and so on.
Right.
The most similar thing to this that I can think of commercially, anyway, that was a commercial push. DC Comics, a couple of years ago, they tried a webcomics initiative called Zuda, ZUDA, Zuda Comics. But Zuda, they terminated Zuda about a year ago. They call it an interesting experiment because I think in terms of getting digital content out there for comics, the bigger publishers are looking at pushing stuff to devices like the iPad and so on. So the webcomic stuff they played around with it for a bit, but it didn't quite take off. It's still mainly the purview of indie comics and things like that.
Right. What do you think their model would be like? Would it be subscription based or the shared ad revenues?
It could be both because there is actually a premium button here. So I think what they do sometimes is if they can get a couple of bigger names or more popular artists up there, what they'll do is they'll actually sell either PDF versions or they'll sell collected versions of the content. That's one way of monetizing, and then the subscription is another one. But I think right now, from what I can see, it looks like it's more a community-driven thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Looks like something that you use.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it looks like the majority of the content is Bahasa Indonesia, so I don't know if they have that as a restriction.
Get someone to translate for you.
But yeah, exactly. so I just have to find a collaborator to translate. So yeah.
Right. Cool. All right. The next one is probably for Andrew or Sherwin. Zynga actually starts prepaid card sales in Asia. How important is this? I mean, why is this news important?
I was there. They had a press conference last week.
The guy, yes.
They had guys from Zynga here as well as from okay, so basically this is a tie-up with MOL. MOL, the folks who own Friendster. So basically what happens is that they will now be the distribution channel through 6 Asian countries. I don't remember all 6 though. I think it's like Singapore, Malaysia, if I'm not wrong, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and maybe one more. So you get to buy all these cards in like US $2, $5, and $10 denominations from like 7-Eleven and a variety of all these convenience stores.
Right. Okay.
So it's I guess microtransactions are a huge market. You know, I personally don't play a lot of mobile games, but I know kids who do like Habbo Hotel and God knows what other games out there. You spend like $2 a day, $10 a week, and it accumulates. And the problem with Zynga games is that even though they're on Facebook, you need a credit card to buy all the whatever in-game dollars that they use.
Right.
And out of the US, that's the only option. In the US itself, they do sell all these cards.
Okay.
So this is, I guess, their way of entering the Asian market. But what's funny is that Friendster is actually, or has been trying to rebrand itself as an online games portal. But it seems that MOL is only working with Zynga on this for the game cards.
Right. And
Zynga is not like trying to bring all the popular Farmville, Cafe World, Zynga poker games onto the Friendster platform. So this is a purely business decision when it comes to, you have the cards and some company in Asia is going to help you sell it. So that was what I found to be quite ironic actually, because so right now MOL is actually trying to help Facebook users instead of growing its own social network platform.
Yep, like friends. Yeah, exactly. And we know that MOL also funds a lot of this kind of game as well. I mean, they and their own model is actually getting people, rather getting the students and all that to use their phone to pay using their prepaid credits to pay for certain virtual items on the network, on the games. And you're right. Putting Zynga in there may actually carving out their own their well, it's no doubt that definitely they will sell a lot because of Facebook's own reach everywhere around the world as well, you know. And this is a good way to prevent an $8,000 credit card charge for, you know, buying too many virtual items.
Yeah, but you're gonna see a lot of kids just going to I know, like they're gonna hit down 7-Eleven every day with a $2 card. It's gonna add up, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But no doubt, I think, you know, microtransactions are a huge thing when it comes to all these online games, and Zynga needs to actually come in. Otherwise, you know, not too many people have credit cards.
All right. So if you need to power up, and if you and you don't have a credit card left, I mean, or any credit left in your credit card, this is one way to go. Andrew, you have anything to add for this? Can't hear you.
Hello.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. So this is about Farmville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
There we go. And that's yeah. Sorry.
I played a game where you've got some giraffe. I can't remember what it's called, but you've got to make them happy, and you play this clapping game with them, and you give them food and that. It's a free thing, but pretty soon she gets unhappy and she wants ice cream, and you only get one ice cream in the inventory, and then it says, you know, when you're out of ice cream, it says, oh, you know, to buy 10 ice cream, $2.50, and it's $2.50 real money. And I thought, how many people are stupid enough to sit there to try and make this giraffe happy, you know, emptying their credit card limit? It's ridiculous.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Oh, I'm sure they're out there, but
they're out there.
What a scam, you know, it's unbelievable.
Well, obviously enough people will do that in order for Zynga to exist as a company.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Thomas, do you buy the virtual horse from for World of Warcraft?
Horse?
Virtual horses. Horse. The one you ride on.
That works both ways, dude.
No.
As opposed to the horses that ride on you.
Sorry, I was laughing with my muted microphone. Now I want you to appreciate my laugh.
Yeah.
Who told you about the virtual horse? Because Blizzard are very anti certainly anybody else making money from their game. So if someone's trying to sell gold or whatever in game for real money, they get banned straight away.
Yeah.
And you cannot buy items. You also cannot set up anything that's going to run automatically for you. You know, that would be doing something that you would normally have to be playing the game to do. So they've offered things like, you know, if you if you buy the glossy edition of Cataclysm or whatever, you got a free pet. They had a free pet going for that. Or if you did something to sign up somebody else, then you got a rocket ship that could carry both of you in it.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything like where they say, look, if you pay, you know, you can buy this and it appears in the game, because they're quite anti doing that sort of stuff.
No,
I mean, you know, they've got whatever it is, 9 million people all paying 50 US cents a day or $1 US cents a day to play. They don't need to flog too much crap to pay the bills.
Yeah. Well, apparently there was a news we said, I don't know how many episodes ago, where Blizzard launched this virtual. Andrew, do you remember the virtual blue unicorn? What? Flying horse or something?
Yeah, but there was something that you only could get with in-game currency, right? You had to basically grind for it and get enough gold for it. You couldn't buy it with real money.
Yeah, that sounds much more likely.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wasn't on this, I'd be grinding for my six piece of epic purple gear for one of my characters. So I do play it a bit.
Right.
It's a grind.
Right. Okay. Horses.
Yes, but I haven't ground for a horse yet.
Okay. All right. We keep that stat. And that's the news for last week. I think there's a couple of more things. I think a couple of events that will be coming up soon in the next few weeks or so. And one of them is Twestival, which is a Twitter festival that is organized worldwide on March the 24th. And usually we all come together, have a drink, have food, have fun, watch a show, watch Sherwin dance, and
No, you cannot just bring that up. No.
and give money to charity. And Sherwin was one of our biggest money raisers last year. And Sherwin, coming this year, right?
Back this year, no. Gonna stay at home and play my Xbox.
Hey, we're bringing an Xbox there, by the way.
No.
So Twestival Singapore is happening in TAP Singapore on March 24th. Come by if you can. And there's one in every city. Go look up your city. Go to twestival.com. Figure out what city you're in or going to or you'll be in. And see where they're holding the one in the city. And I'm sure KL has one, if anyone knows where it is. No.
Has one what? Sorry, Michael?
A Twestival. A Twitter festival.
Oh, right, yeah. One of those things all the cool people go to.
No, they don't all go there and tweet themselves, yes.
I'm going to the tweet festival.
Yeah.
That sounds wrong, man. They all go there and tweet themselves.
There's something wrong with you guys. You've got a funny way of interpreting everything.
Indeed.
There's the water over there.
Okay, and what's the other ones? There's a unEconomics in NTU on March the 3rd. Oh, sorry, that's past. That's like 2 days ago. MusicCamp coming up on March 19th. That's basically BarCamp for music. Basically, anybody come here. You want to learn music, you want to learn about the industry, you want to see what things they do in terms of the music world, come by. And NTU on March the 23rd. March the 19th. And FilmCamp on March 26th. That's a Saturday, which coincides with Earth Hour. And Earth Hour is where you actually turn off the lights, or rather electricity, for an hour from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And this is where this podcast was birthed out of, Earth Hour. The very first podcast we did was with Andrew and Carolyn. This started 2 years ago and on Earth Hour, which is fantastic at the time. So here we are, now live after 2 years on Ustream, looking at our antics. Yeah, and March 26th Film Camp, it is at, I got no idea where it is at. I will figure that out. We put it up on the link and we'll know. Anything else you guys got to add? Anything?
I think Earth Hour's great. Everyone switches off their lights and turns on their high-definition television and Blu-ray player and surround sound stereo, so they've got something to watch in the dark.
And
Stuff is saved. Stuff is saved.
We're doing our bit.
Yep, that's right. And the first year they had it, or rather when we had a podcast the first year, and we had it, I was going to a place up in the hills in Ampang to take the effects of the whole Earth Hour, which is almost zero except for KLCC shutting down and KL Tower shutting down.
You had to look for your place, did you, Michael?
Exactly.
There's my lounge light going out.
That's right. but what made me realize is that because it's an event, so everybody goes out to try to see the effects. I was when I was there, it was actually filled with cars. Yeah, we actually reduced electricity, but we actually increased carbon emissions, and it's ridiculous, you know.
Mike, why do you hate Mother Earth?
No,
Like to say that.
I know.
We should do a podcast on that. Why does Michael hate Mother Earth? Just to hold it out on that.
No, I'm trying to advise where, you know, this year, don't go out. Stay at home. Don't do carbon emission, you know. Turn off your light.
Stay still. Don't move at all. Just sit in your chair.
Burn candles.
Don't breathe.
Try
Hold your
to
breath.
hold your breath, yeah. Don't let out any carbon dioxide into the atmosphere at all, because that's not
carbon monoxide. Yeah, that's right.
Which means that you need to hold your fart as well.
Obviously, yeah.
and both ends, yeah.
It's not a problem for some of us. He must be a bit older than me.
The more people who follow that advice and try to hold their breath for the entirety of Earth Hour, I think the rest of us will be far better off.
You may laugh and you may be cynical and think, oh, it's just me. But imagine if billions of people just sat still and held their breath for 1 hour. Think of the good effects that would have for our environment
and our job prospects.
Actually, when they recovered from holding their breath, they would actually have more emissions than if they just breathed normally the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But good idea.
Good idea. Do support Earth Hour on March 26th, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Orchard is shutting down in KL. I think in KL. In
Orchard is shutting down in
remotely.
Oh, you mean we got a power switch for Singapore now? Ooh.
Yep.
Actually,
turn off the water, turn off the power.
Exactly. Actually, Malaysia do have a power switch. Seriously. Apparently. All right. That's it for the podcast. On the show, we have, let's go round again. We have Andrew Cock. We can find you at twitter.com/AndrewKJS.
Yes.
And we have Farah Siddiq.
Yep, you just can't find me at farahsiddiq.com.
And To from MyTech News.
Yes.
MyTechNews.info.
Oh, yes.
Are you going to do that every time he says it? Oh, yes.
Yes. What? You're promoting for yes now? And on Twitter is MyTechNewsInfo without the dot, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Usually you hear him rant about stuff.
And asking for free alcohol.
Oh yeah, and dates as well, apparently. I heard.
Yeah, that too. But alcohol is more important.
Oh, okay.
Have you still got that irritating ant thing on Twitter?
Yeah, I still there.
I swear to God, the first couple of days you had that thing, right? I swear to God, the first time I scrolled it, I thought there was a bug on my screen. And then even when I realized it was an animated GIF, a couple of days after that, I still got fooled by it.
What one pixel can do. Sheldon is...
That's where the dot went, by the way. That's where his MyTech News dot in place.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mr. Super Animator and a superhero comic book thrower.
Something lah.
Something, yes.
Yeah.
You can be found at
twitter.com/SheldonGo and sheldongo.deviantart.com.
Right. And the only sexy reporter around, Mr. Sherwin Lover.
Hello. Can find me at twitter.com/AngelSherwin.
And when does Digital Live usually come out?
Comes out every Wednesday.
You can see him there.
Times.
You can see him there. Well, you cannot see him. You can read him there, I guess. And we have Thomas Perry.
Yes, and you can see my guitar collection at www.sgmw.co.nz. And flick me a note and say how nice you think it is.
Right. It is the one of the world's largest left-handed guitar collection.
What's the URL again?
S for sausage, G for Geronimo, M for mother, W for Wisconsin. Stands for She Gave Me Water, quote from the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
So .nz.
Yep. It's the largest, one of the largest left-handed.
Well, Paul McCartney's got a slightly larger collection.
Slightly. Thomas is number 2.
I'd be in the top 10.
Top 10. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, he plays rock once in a while.
Occasionally.
Sings and he sings for the podcast now. So.
Yes. Yeah. I'll sing a song this podcast.
Cool.
Awesome.
And all right. To Steve Jobs or something like that.
Yes. All right. See you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. Don't log off. It's just a virtual sign off. Oops. Have you all logged off?
No.
Still here.
No. Now is the after show party.
Yeah, the after show.